In this episode, I would like to discuss about something that creates a lot of confusion in the corporate world, because many people still don't know what's the difference between a project manager and a product owner. So let's discuss this in detail to see what are the common elements and what are the main differences.
Yeah, so as you said, there is still confusion between the two roles. Product owners and project managers share many qualities, but for example, a project manager needs more organizational skills, while a product owner needs more communication skills. Project managers thrive in pre-planned, organized systems, while product owners work best in constantly changing environments. They are more flexible and dynamic in terms of workload. The most important thing is that in an agile Scrum team, there is no project manager role, only product owner.
Right. Well, that's an ideal scenario, but we all know that in the real world there are some situations where this is not happening. Could you tell us some examples where there's a different setup and why these setups are not working?
Yes, so as you've mentioned, there are not so ideal examples too. For example, there is an example where there are two product owners, one extra, to mediate between the business team and the development team, which is not okay because at the end of the day, those two product owners still need to have a separate alignment session, again, thus losing efficiency. Also, another scenario would be when above those two product owners, in comes another project manager who micromanages the product owner in order to run things more efficiently.
So basically what you're saying that there's a lack of trust in the business team, so they try to compensate this by adding an additional headcount with the project manager, but rather on optimizing the process they are creating additional clutter. Am I right?
That's right, that's correct.
So I think it's really important to discuss what are the main responsibilities of a product owner, and I know in this episode we don't have time to discuss about all of them, but let's start with the first two. What are the first two that are the most important?
Yeah, so I've prepared 7 main responsibilities of a product owner. I think we should start with the first one, which is defining the vision. The product owner is the point person on the product development team, using their high-level perspective to define goals and create a vision for digital projects. He or she is responsible for communicating with stakeholders across the board, including customers, business managers, and the development team to make sure that the goals are clear and the vision is aligned with the business objectives. Having a product owner with a higher perspective ensures that the team maintains a cohesive vision, despite the flexible and often fast-paced nature of agile product development. The most important thing is everyone needs to be on the same page for a project to work effectively. In our electric car charger application example, maybe some team members say that the product should be used only regionally, while some might say that it would be beneficial to use it worldwide. The vision has to be clear and aligned with everyone. This is where the product owner comes in handy. Another example where a product owner can help the team is creating a sprint roadmap. This sprint roadmap is a high-level strategic visual summary that highlights the deadlines and key parts of the development. It is both a strategic guide for stakeholders to reference as well as a plan for execution. The second responsibility, in my point of view, would be managing the backlog. The product owner's responsibility is to create a list of backlog items and prioritize them based on the overall strategy and business objectives.
So here's the backlog again, and I promised our audience that we will explain every new terminology, so let's start with this. What does a backlog mean? How does it work?
A product backlog is a repository where requirements are tracked with details on the number of requirements to be completed for each release. It should be maintained and prioritized by the product owner, and it should be distributed to the Scrum team. The team can also request a new requirement addition, modification, or deletion, hence the flexibility of the tool. An example of a tool that is often used in managing a product backlog would be Atlassian's Jira. This tool is perfect for creating user stories and sprints to manage the development cycle. In many cases, to keep track of client requests, and it can also be used as a ticketing tool for the support side of the project. Since the product backlog will change frequently, the product owner must make the list accessible and available to all stakeholders, particularly developers.
That's it for this episode. Please join us in our next one, where we will continue discussing the responsibilities of a product owner. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on LinkedIn.